One of the things amateur golfers find most difficult to do is to achieve a downswing sequence that's both consistent and allows you to deliver this club to the ball in an effective, powerful way. Today I'm going to share with you a couple of great downswing drills that specifically discuss how the wrists work. And it's really the wrists that control how this club works back down and to the ball. If you want to find the slot in a more consistent fashion and hit more powerful, repeatable golf shots, then this video is going to help you. I'll be using the HackMotion wrist sensor throughout this video to share with you some of the ways that you can use this tool to help you improve your downswing sequence. A good downswing sequence can be difficult to train. It's quite complex and may look quite difficult to achieve, but ultimately the number one ingredient to a good downswing sequence is good club face control. And good club face control comes from the correct wrist motion. Equally, when you see a downswing which gets off plane or starts to cast the club prematurely, so unhinge the wrists too soon in the downswing, oftentimes those things are happening as a result of something else, and that something else again is having poor club face control. If I use this magnetic rod and place it onto the club face, I'll give you an idea of what I mean. To have good downswing sequence requires the club face to be in a strong enough condition, meaning it's not wide open, turned sufficiently down towards the ground in the downswing, to allow me to just keep turning my body and moving it correctly in a nice sequenced fashion into impact and deliver a club face that's functional. Square enough to the target with some shaft lean, I can deliver that nice compressed contact on the golf ball. That also allows me to keep swinging this club from a more neutral swing path or swing direction, because I'm not needing to make unnecessary compensations at the last minute to try to square this club face up. So as long as the club face is sufficiently strong in this point in time, where the face points very slightly down towards the ground, I'm in a great spot here to line everything up. That's why good golfers' downswings look somewhat effortless. There's plenty of effort in there, but they have the club face arranged correctly. Conversely, the poorest golfers would tend to get this club face more often than not wide open, either in the backswing or certainly into the early downswing. Now this rod is pointing in a very different place. And as a consequence of that, I no longer have the option of swinging down with a nice sequence. If I did and delivered any sort of shaft lean, you could see how wildly offline this shot would fly. And so as a consequence of that, I'm having to shift the swing direction more across the ball to try to square the face. And that may lead to something a little bit more functional from a directional point of view. But if we take a look from this front view, you see that in order for me to get that club face somewhat square, I've needed to cast my wrist and release the wrist angles prematurely. And I have this flipping look at impact. My body's stalled and there's no way I can hit anything with any degree of power. So once again, just to highlight the importance of club face control in this recipe of downswing, you can't just change your downswing and make it look a certain way unless the club face is complying. So that's the drills that I'm going to share with you right now. The way to train your wrists in the downswing to make sure they're in the right place, and you'll get the rest of the sequence, including the body motion, for free. Quick question for you. Did you know that 80% of your golf ball's direction comes from the club face angle at impact? And it's your wrists that control that angle. If you want to hit straighter shots and add more distance to your game, then check out the link in the description below. And the very first drill I want to share with you using HackMotion is the casting drill. This is a wonderful drill to help you understand how to keep your wrist angles intact in the transition part of the swing and into the early downswing. So the casting drill is going to speak specifically about the angle between the lead arm and the shaft that a lot of golfers lose in the early downswing. They start to uncock their wrists prematurely for reasons already stated. This drill on the HackMotion app will help you understand the feeling you need to retain those wrist angles into the downswing. So the drill works like so. We're going to set up to the ball. The app's going to recognize that I'm in my address position and then tell me to go to the top. And then once I'm at the top, I get the vibration of the sensor, and it asks me to try and start or continue the rest of my swing. And the feeling that I'm working on there as I do that slow repetition to begin with tells me to go to the top. I'm trying to keep this angle or even reduce it slightly so there's a greater degree of wrist hinge in the downswing. You'll see here actually that the app's picking up the fact that I'm managing to achieve that. Having said that, on that last one, it also picked up the fact that I did so by excessively extending my wrist. And that's part of why this app and this drill is so valuable. It trains the wrist through all the degrees of motion, not just in one plane. So we go to the top, it's going to recognize I'm up the top, I'm going to come down. And this time, not only did I keep the angle of the wrist, but I also maintained a little bit more flex in my lead wrist, a little bit more extension in my trail wrist. That's similar to the motorcycle drill, which we'll come on to shortly. And some of you may be familiar with that concept. So blending the casting drill and the motorcycle drill together will build these wrist angles to be just as we want them. The next thing you can do once you get a sense of doing this slowly, one more time without hitting the ball, I'm going to come down, try to increase this wrist hinge. Not casting is the feedback I get on the app. I can see that I'm moving in a way that I want to. Now I can try to hit some. I'd still encourage you to do this slowly to start with. Get to the top, try to keep the wrist angles down through impact, not casting. So I really get the sense that I'm holding these wrist angles coming down to the ball. I'm doing it slowly. I'm doing it in a manner that helps me to train my wrists from a position where, for many of you, this will not be comfortable at all, or at least not natural. You won't know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. So you have to start learning to do these movements slowly, stand still at address, let the app recognize I'm ready to go to the top, and then try to add more wrist hinge in the downswing. There's my not casting feel. And then from there I can go ahead and hit some balls. You're really going to start to train the correct wrist angles, the correct arm motion, and then with it, the correct body pivot into the follow through. And the second drill you can combine with the casting drill or use on its own independently is the motorcycle drill. This is a drill that HackMotion have had on the app for a while, which talks about the rotation of the wrists in transition, somewhat akin and similar to twisting the throttle on a motorbike, and how that twisting directly influences the club face. So if you struggle with club face control, the motorcycle drill could be the best downswing drill for you. The reason I love this drill and the reason I think it's so important to focus on this area of the swing in transition is because it's this part of the swing where the club's changing direction from backswing to downswing, where the golfer's putting a lot of force into the club. It's when you're trying to swing fast, you're changing direction, you're about to hit this ball, and you're trying to swing with some force and some speed. And as a consequence of that, what gets lost here sometimes is the exact nature of how to move these wrists, and that's where the club face gets out of position. You don't really know what that feels like because it's not a familiar movement to you. Training in transition, this motorcycle drill, can really help you to identify where you're getting it wrong. So let me go ahead and show you how the drill works. It wants me to go to the top of my backswing. It knows I'm in my backswing. Now as I swing down, it's asking me to swing down, continue my downswing, and see how well I do at twisting the wrist and controlling the club face. You're going to get the feedback on the app. It's going to give you feedback as to whether you did this correctly. I'm going to go to the top. I'll do it incorrectly this time. I'm actually going to twist my wrist the wrong way. I'm going to get the feedback there very clearly on the app, very clearly that I was way off track. I went about doing that consciously the wrong way. I twisted my wrist in the opposite direction of the way I'm supposed to, meaning I added extension to this lead wrist, which is the complete opposite of what good players do in transition. They actually flex towards or move the wrist towards flexion, turning this club face down. I spoke about that earlier. So the drill shows you very clearly where you're getting this wrong, and depending on your current skill level or your current deficiency, you may need to do a lot of a change here. You may just need to do a small change. But working with the app and doing the motion slowly, you can really learn. Just going to get this back into address, go to the top, start flexing the wrist down towards the ball. That one was perfect, got the green all the way. This is a familiar feeling to me, and typically speaking, you'll find that the better players are able to do this, and that what makes them better, not coincidentally, is the fact that they have better control of their wrist angles. Wrist angle control equals club face control equals ball control equals better golf. So there's a real key to getting this right. There's a real need for you to work on this until you get it to a point where it's at least as reliable as you need it to be for your desired golfing standard. So let's go ahead and do one more of those. set up, go to the top, and then twist in the downswing. Says I lost it just a tiny bit in the middle there, but managed to recover it at the end of the end of the swing. But by the time I got to impact, I had that back in place. Really, what this drill and these two drills are trying to help you to achieve is a very specific feeling in your wrists that many of you won't be familiar with. If you struggle with poor direction, whether that's to the left or the right, or just an inconsistent directional pattern, if you struggle with good, consistent contact with the ball, the likelihood is you're making last-minute adjustments in your swing because of poor wrist angles. Both the casting drill and the motorcycle drill will start to teach you how to move your wrists in a way that the best players do, and that can only help to enhance and improve your golf game. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and click a link that's down in the description of this video, which will show you more HackMotion training videos. I really like you to give these two drills, the casting drill and the motorcycle drill, a go, as I know they really help your golf.